All right, everybody. So, my name is Laurel Bellman, and welcome to Meet IT Connects. I'm going to be moderating this session. And so, we're going to start off with an overview of what IT Connects is, and Sabrina Messer is going to provide that overview. And then Sabrina is going to share a description of a few of the IT Connect groups who are unable to join us today and address any questions you might have about them to the best of her ability. And then representatives from many of the other IT Connects groups are going to give a brief overview of their groups, and then we'll have some time for questions. So just a quick note that we are recording this presentation, and an accessible video will be available for viewing on the IT Professionals Conference website, hopefully next week. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sabrina to provide an overview of IT Connects.
Awesome, thank you. Super excited and honored to be here today. IT Connects is something that I have been participating in and around and attending for more than 10 years now, just to kind of give you a preview of what I'm going to share. IT Connects is sponsored by the Office of the CIO and Vice Provost for Information Technology, Lois Brooks. So I want to call out Lois has been an amazing supporter for all of our groups and all of our work in her time at the institution. We also have Todd Schechter is our Chief Technology Officer. He's the executive sponsor of IT Connect. So oftentimes you will hear Lois and Todd's names come up as part of IT Connects, and we're very grateful for all the support they provide, including this conference that we're all here at today. So I'm Sabrina. I've been, like I said, doing IT Connect stuff for a long time, and currently I'm the ex officio sponsor. So now that we have that stuff aside, what is IT Connects? It was founded in 2015, and it was actually an opportunity to bring together a lot of professional development activities that were already happening. Leadership Improv existed back in 2012. There was a leadership conference. There were some breakfasts that were happening. UW-Wit started up around then, but these groups were all really separate and doing great work, but kind of operating in vacuums. And so in 2015, we had two leaders, one from the School of Education, Brenda Sakala, and one from DoIT, Brandon Bernier, who came together and said, let's really find a way to support these activities more broadly. Let's bring in more groups. Let's do more to acknowledge that really people, everything about the university is about people. Our IT community is so valuable to us, and we just need to work together to build this community and provide more to our community. So since then, there's been about 8 more groups, roughly is my current tally, that have been added to IT Connects. We have communities of practice that are part of our group now. We have things from mentoring to conferences to a variety of sessions. And so what started as scheduling support, financial support, really has turned into a broad community of trying to create spaces for belonging and different ways to engage with one another. And I can say it's been so amazing to watch, particularly through the pandemic, what all of our groups have done to keep us connected in these really weird, disconnected, frightening times. And as we move out of them and spend more time together. So huge thank you to all the groups for working through these interesting, crazy 10 years. Okay, I want to make a comment. We talk about IT a lot. We're at IT Professionals Conference, but really the community I'm speaking of that we all serve is IT adjacent. Nick Tincher this morning called it IT tapestry. Our data friends who are working on curation analysis and presenting data to us. IT is not a limiting factor. It maybe was something to help us define ourselves back those 10 years ago, but now it's really, it's a much bigger community. And so you'll hear those phrases, IT adjacent, IT tapestry. What do we do with all these groups in our programming? I have to express a huge thank you to Courtney this morning, our opening keynote speaker, because her takeaways, that's really what we aspire to provide for the community. We want to make space for folks to be present and explore maybe how you would brand yourself, how you show up to different types of meetings, how you show up to conversations. We want to provide spaces where you can develop confidence, where you can interact with new people, find your voice. It's all about learning. Sometimes learning is very comfortable. Oftentimes it's uncomfortable, and we want to make sure the community is there to support that learning. And of course, building the network. we talk about it as a water cooler sometimes, but it's really amazing how just being in the same virtual or physical space with another IT colleague leads to just wild new ideas and new ways of approaching things and partnerships down the road or even in the short term that you never imagined were possible because you were brought together under the heading of some type of an event. In terms of how all of this works and how you might get plugged into IT Connects, we are always looking for new ideas, new participants, new suggestions for speakers, new topics to discuss. We do have a co-leads group that meets monthly, and that there's about 2 co-leads for each of the groups. And we come together to discuss timely topics, establish new ways to bring people together, again, talk about any new ideas we've heard in our various sessions, and just keep moving topics forward and bringing folks together. If you're interested in participating in any of these groups, reach out to who you're hearing from today, or myself or Todd or Laurel, if you have ideas and you don't see a group that maybe one-to-one matches what your idea is. So with that, I can certainly take any questions on IT Connects in general. Otherwise, I'll speak a little bit on the conference that we're at today.
I'm not seeing any questions, so
Cool.
probably go right ahead.
Thanks for that moment also to recaffeinate myself. I am using the tally that we have. Great graphics on that, by the way. So just speaking to the conference as an opportunity to plug in. This is, I think, was the 7th year. Is that where we're at now? It's amazing. I remember when we started and it was hard to even get web space to advertise the conference and talk about it with folks. So it's so cool to see what this has become. The IT Professionals Conference has a lot of subgroups that make all this possible. There's leads for each of those groups, and there's a lot of different ways to plug in based on your areas of interest. So definitely reach out to folks associated with the conference if you're interested, if you have ideas. Typically, I believe kickoffs come in January. There's a lot of emails that come through the various IT email listservs that we have, calling for ideas, calling for participants. Again, just reach out, respond to some of those. And we can get you to help us with this conference. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you for joining us today. Again, I'll try and field any questions, but honestly, some of my co-presenters are better positioned to speak on the conference than I am. I hope you're enjoying it.
All right, with that, should we pass it on to Al?
Yeah, absolutely. Please. Alan Amick.
Yes, hi. Just here to talk just for a few minutes around the digital accessibility community of practice as a representative for that unit for IT Connects. I'm actually one of 3 other co-chairs for that group. Effectively, the community of practice is there as a resource for anyone on this campus to get involved with digital accessibility. It's proved to be really, really valuable, I think, for a lot of our people already in terms of sharing that knowledge, sharing experiences, finding solutions, working through different problems. It also provides a couple of other big benefits as well, which is it provides to be a center point for folks at the Center for User Experience, for representatives from the Office of Compliance in other areas to reach out to the community and be able to sort of share information, things that are taking place, changes that are happening on campus. For those that are maybe already in the loop or not yet in the loop, there is a new digital accessibility policy that's going into effect. And that will be taking a lot of, work from, there's groups that are, really taking the reins and helping drive that within the Center for User Experience, but it's going to take a lot of us within the community to help get that implemented, right? And to help make sure that things are addressed accordingly. And that's where a big part of the community of practice is able to really devote a lot of time to that. We also really are happy to have a lot of resources available to the community as best we can. There's a lot of great support from IT Connects. Lois has been a huge supporter of this group for many, many, many years. And we'd like to get great speakers in now and then. So for folks that can either, join and see the community share what they're doing in some of these presentations, but also just see, some of the professionals, the big ones that are out there that have done a lot of these different things. It's great to be able to share that information. I would encourage you to take a look. We have a page up on, I don't know if we have a link to put in chat. Oh, we do already. Thank you, Connor. If you're interested in joining, I definitely encourage you to take a look. I think I hadn't mentioned it, but the more Zoom level meetings we tend to have are sort of every other month. But again, it's meant to be just whenever you can participate. I think some groups get scared off by, how much do I have to dedicate time to this sort of thing? And really the reality is it's more just what feels comfortable for you to be able to engage with. And so I definitely encourage you to take a look. And if you do have any additional questions about it, please feel free to ask. It's a really engaged group. I think we're having currently, at least last I looked, within the Teams channel, where a lot of that sort of chatter tends to happen. There's about 250 or so members. So if there's any questions I can answer on that, please feel free to ask them in chat or ask them otherwise. I'm always happy to answer those. But thank you again.
Thanks so much, Al. That was really great. And please do feel free to drop any questions you might have for any of the presenters about their groups in the chat. All right, with that, we're going to move over to Scott, who is going to talk about the IT Professional Steering Committee. And I'm going to go ahead and share your slides with you.
Thank you, Laurel.
Yep.
Right, so my name is Scott Winger, and I'm a co-lead for the IT Professionals Steering Committee. And well, let me see if I can get back to my script here. And the ITPSC exists to facilitate connections between IT and or IT adjacent professionals here at UW-Madison. So per the URLs on the slides, we steward the following 2 web pages: guidelines, best practices, and advice for UW-Madison IT professionals, and also the resource guide for new IT staff. So maintaining these 2 documents is one of the group's missions, but so is hosting fun silo busting events. We're all about, connecting IT and IT adjacent professionals. So along those lines, you'll soon be seeing an announcement for our first event. It's called the INT Coffee Connections. In this event, participants will submit a form with a small amount of biographical information and will then be randomly paired with another IT or IT adjacent professional, a participant with whom to schedule a time to meet virtually or meet actually for coffee and get to know each other. The ITPSC will be hosting other fun silo busting events as well, but we're kind of reconstituting ourselves after a hiatus for COVID. Also, per the slide, we need your help. So please join us at our monthly meetings. To do this, just send an email to me and or to my co-lead, Jim Helweg, at the email addresses listed on the slide. And that's what I had for you. Are there any questions? If not, back to you, Laurel.
All right, thanks, Scott. Next up, we have Sarah. And I
You're gonna have to
will
be
change
more
this.
specific.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah Green. Thanks
There's
for
several
that.
Sarahs involved in IT Connects, and sometimes it gets confusing. I am Sarah Green, and I am one of the co-leads on the IT mentoring group. If you were listening to our keynote this morning, she mentioned mentoring several times. And people sometimes don't really know what mentoring is. And it's reaching out to one other person and having a relationship where you can work through anything. And I became involved in mentoring because I have a great appreciation for the UW community, IT community, or on campus. And I want people to be involved and not feel like they're alone. And I think that sometimes people get here and they don't have the resources that we want, and they don't know how to move forward. IT mentoring strives to give people an ability to join up with another person for a continuing relationship over the course of a semester to solve a goal. Maybe it's, I don't understand how this works on campus, or maybe it's, I don't understand why I keep getting passed over for promotions. It could be anything evolving from their promotion, from their career, or whatever. And it's basically the opportunity to, with somebody who has been on campus for a while, to talk to somebody maybe who's new on campus, or maybe somebody who isn't new on campus, but they feel stuck and they need to talk to somebody. This is an opportunity for those 2 people to make a connection. And I think that's what our community is all about, is making these connections. The IT mentoring group well, last year it was in August. We're contemplating moving our our drive to collect mentors and mentees to a more of a calendar year project, but what we're looking for is people who are looking to be a mentee or be a mentor, and to join with us on that process, so we can get people who need help into relationships that help them. We'd also love to do like networking. We'd love to do discussions of maybe a book club or maybe a video club. Like, instead of having to read a book, how about watch a video and then talk about it? So if you feel stuck, or if you feel like you need help with your career, I think IT mentoring can really help you. And there's several people on our steering committee. We're always looking for more. And we're happy to talk to you outside of our normal mentoring partnership relationship, just to discuss what you're hoping to get in a mentoring relationship, and maybe we can find somebody to mentor you outside of the normal match-up process. I'm always happy to talk more about mentoring. I have a co-lead by the name of Lindsay Bolin. You probably saw her earlier. She talked about innovation at a panel. And I'm sure Lindsay would be happy to talk to you as well. Any of our steering committee, really. So that's really all I have to say about mentoring.
Thanks so much, Sarah. That's really great. All right. Up next, Laura Grady.
Thank you so much. And it's so nice to see so many familiar faces today. If you wouldn't mind sharing my slides, that would be fabulous. If you would go back a couple slides. Back up to slide 1, if you could.
I am trying, and I am like stuck.
Uh-oh.
I can't move it anymore.
Okay. All right.
We work. There we go. I switched my mechanism.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
What are you looking for?
There
we go.
Okay, one more.
There
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
So my name is Laura Grady. I use she, her pronouns, and I am one of the co-leads for the UW-Madison design community. And my partner in this endeavor is Felipe Gacharna, who you folks might know from the School of Education. So for the next slide, you might be wondering who design community is for. And it is for a number of individuals, whether you are a writer or a content creator, web designer, developer, graphic or visual artist, whether you do email marketing, whether you're user experience or accessibility designer and researcher, instructional designers, photographers, videographers. So really a wide variety of folks who do design as part of their daily work. Our mission, next slide, is to really empower and equip designers. Lots of folks don't realize that they are actually doing design work that impacts the experience for folks on campus. We want to build a community, hence the name design community, and we want to build skills amongst all the folks who participate in each of our sessions. We offer training and support, whether it's through connections that people make or whether it's through our programming. And ultimately, we hope that by improving all of our design skills that we end up designing better experiences for our students, our faculty, our staff, our prospective folks on campus. So as far as how we work, the co-leads, so Felipe and I, plan and facilitate mostly monthly sessions. There are a few months that we miss here and there. And we end up meeting, the two of us, roughly 2 to 4 times a month, more on the 2 a month, sort of depending on the individual needs of the presenters that we have. And then at each of these sessions, a presenter will choose a topic, or we will reach out to specific individuals to talk about something that we have recognized that they have a particular strength in. And they might share different tools that they use, different tips or best practices as they're working through a particular design challenge. And then real life examples that they have encountered throughout their career or in their current role. And then the community itself then can engage with the presenter, can engage with the co-leads, Felipe and myself, by sharing input. You know, they might have suggestions for a particular topic that they would like us to cover. They may have different examples, or they may say, hey, you tried it this way. This is how we tried it. This worked for us. But it's been such a great community of folks to share their ideas and build relationships, get new ideas. I learned something new every time that we have one of our sessions. So as far as getting involved in the community, there are a number of ways to do that. You can send out an email to the community if you want to announce something. Maybe you have an event coming up that you think might be pertinent to folks. You can join our Teams chat. We have information on our website that includes links to past presentations. So we have both an accessible video and accessible slides so that you can refer back to previous sessions. And we are also looking for folks to join us, whether as a presenter. If you've got an idea, please reach out to us. We love to get new topics on the docket. We'd love to hear what skills and what examples and experiences that you might have that will help the rest of the community. We are also going to be looking for another co-lead to help lead design community come this fall. So please let us know if you might be interested in participating. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions about design community.
All right, fantastic.
Yes, Ketter's drawings are so cute. All the design work for us. So talented.
She truly is. All right, I think we'll move on now to Ella, who will talk about CLAC.
Hello, my name is Ella Chapik, and I work in the School of Education in Merritt, where I manage the help desk here as well as the instructional compute apps. CLAC was founded, I was trying to remember when, probably 2016, to bring together folks both at centralized and decentralized computer labs and computers with similar images. We kind of didn't meet much during the pandemic. We met right away at the beginning, but computer labs, weren't that busy during the pandemic. We did just recently have a new kind of reborn kickoff. And what we found was that a lot of us that manage computer labs now are also managing other services within our departments. So we're actually kind of looking for a slight rebrand. CLAC stands for has stood for Computer Lab Administrator Community, but we're looking at some other kind of keeping our CLAC acronym, but like changes to the name to be more encompassing of folks in other areas of user support is mostly what we're looking at. But people who want to come together and talk about what tools and things that they're using, we talked about the move to Windows 11 at our last meeting. We talked about some Adobe troubleshooting. We talked about PaperCut and what's coming down the pipeline for printing. We meet quarterly. We'll do one of those as a formal meeting. We'll probably do the formal meetings online. We're still working out how we're getting our feet back under us, but probably do the formal meetings online where we have a presenter speak with us. The next meeting we plan to have will be on PaperCut and what that'll mean for campus, maybe a PaperCut panel, because DoIT is bringing it on for the info labs and engineering has been using it. So we may have a speaker from each centralized and decentralized IT to talk about PaperCut. And then we also hold an informal meeting where we generally gather at a union and just talk about whatever's on our minds. And we do those quarterly. So one, and then alternate the patterns. So one formal and one informal. We just started a team channel to discuss the rebrand and as well as other topics that are of interest to our members. And I will share that link in the chat here in a minute. Thanks.
right, thanks, Ella. All right, next up, Amanda is going to be doing double duty. She's going to be talking about two different groups. I'm not sure which one you're going to start with. Are you going to start with leadership improv?
I'm going to do Data Wonks because that's probably the newest one to people. Data Wonks was founded in 2015 as the ad hoc query group community practice by Jeff Chockler. And then since then, it's sort of evolved into including more than just users of Hyperion or Brio or Info Access. So we really want to include a lot of people that are working with data that may not see themselves as IT people. There's a lot of folks that use data in their jobs every day, like policy and planning analysts or academic planners, or that there's not IT in their titles. They don't necessarily see themselves as IT, and Data Wonks wants to be that place to talk about data usage. How can we get to it? How can we use it? How can we do it all better? And then keeping up with the changes that are coming up. It's not for data governance, but we have had data governance come in and talk to us about what is restricted and what is sensitive. And so we all have this good idea, and we're all, because you may not be an IT person, but you might be the person in your office that's the people are coming to and saying, hey, how can I get this report? Or how can I get this data from here? And then if that person is in Data Wonks and has learned what restricted data and sensitive data is, they can help communicate that information to that person. So they'd be the sort of change agent to help get all of that education out to people. So we meet once a month during the academic year. We do a really neat planning exercise in the fall where we have members of anybody that wants to attend our meeting we kind of hop into a Miro board together, suggest all kinds of topics, and then we all vote on our favorites, and we'll take the top 9-ish, and then the steering committee will go fetch those topics. So we'll get folks across campus that know those areas. Like we had Lisa Johnson in for data governance because she's the expert in that. Or we had Eric McKay come and talk to us about his data journey with the degree audit. So we have a fairly mature Teams presence. So a lot of our prior recordings are all in our Teams channel. The information for that is on our website there. I just dropped the link in chat. It has a steering committee that's Jonathan Hinkle was in charge of that for a while after Jeff Chockler, and then he stepped back. So now it'll be Adam Huffman and I in the fall with a couple of Sarahs helping us out, different ones than the ones in here. So Sarah Hagan and then Sarah Osborne. There's a hyphenated name there and I forget what it is. And I'm sorry, Sarah, if you see this recording. Sobe Osborne. But she will be stepping back in the fall, but then step back up again. So once a month in Teams, occasionally we'll have a little social lunch on the same day as our thing. So if you want to kind of meet people in person, we'll go meet at the Union for lunch at the set or at Big Ten for half price hamburgers or whatever. So that is Data Wonks. Leadership Improv, which is probably terrifying to most people who've never heard of it. Improv, that's Jason has this saying, or like the fear of public speaking is #1 and then fear of death is #2. So that means at a funeral, you'd rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. So that improv public speaking is very scary. We do very intentionally build up our sessions to scaffold that risk. We warm everybody up. We don't throw you have to sing like Wayne Brady right off the bat, right in front of everybody. We don't start that way. We don't even do that. I can't sing like Wayne Brady. I would never ask anybody else. We start very gently. We warm people up. The point of the exercises and having the fun is to get a chance to practice some leadership competencies in this sort of safe environment. So you can practice your presence. You can practice talking from spontaneously. Like, this is why I got involved in it, is because I didn't really trust the things that would come out of my mouth spontaneously. I still have a complicated relationship with that, but it gives me a chance to practice with other people without any sort of risk. It's not a leadership. It's not a meeting in front of the big boss and it's a practice meeting with friends. So I'm actually doing my questions backwards. So the group was founded in 2011 by the then CIO of the School of Education, who noticed in his ITLP MORE program that the leadership competencies they were talking about matched up very well with the competencies that were in an improv comedy. So he figured we could practice leadership competencies by doing these improv exercises and sort of put this thing together. And since then, we've been having meetings on the last Friday of every month at one of the unions, just to practice these things for about an hour and have some fun and have some laughs together. Jason Erdman is my partner in crime for these. I'm Amanda Thornton. See, backwards. I'm introducing myself now at the end. I'm Amanda Thornton. I'm a software developer at the Space Science and Engineering Center. So, and we are not, you don't have to be in IT to, it's just leadership improv. There's no IT in the title. So it's like everybody can participate. We also do a lot of, I hate to say the word private engagements, but for individual departments, we will come into your department and help with if you need to do a team building exercise. If you want to, we did a kickoff for the IT mentorship, which was very fun. It just kind of get people talking to each other. We were at the SMPH OBGYN department, trying to just helping them have that group talk to each other and build some rapport with each other and go through this thing. We also had the opportunity to be part of the intentional communications curriculum at the vet med school for third-year veterinary students, which was a lot of fun to work with students and plan out a longer session. We had about 2 3-hour sessions. So planning out a longer session was a really good exercise for Jason and I, as well as working with students who we don't normally get to work with. So, and they were all dressed in their Halloween costumes the first time we had to work with them. So that was so interesting. So we have a lot of fun. It's pretty informal. We have a mailing list that you can just kind of join, and we send out, like, basically once a month, we send out the calendar invite at the beginning of the academic year. And then I'll send reminders before that. And if we're going to be doing a session at a conference, we did the HR at UW conference. So if we got a whole bunch of HR people to laugh with us. So we're pretty confident we can help out your group too. So feel free to join us. We are going to take the summer off, but we'll pick back up in the fall. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Amanda. All right, up next is Sarah Tate Peterson.
Hello, can you all hear me?
We can.
Excellent. So wonderful to be here with you all in community today. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sarah Tate Peterson. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the technical compliance manager for the College of Engineering, and I currently serve as one of the co-leads opposite Chris Poser of the ITLP Forward Steering Team. Our steering team are alumni and serve as stewards of the UW-Madison IT Leadership Program in collaboration with Moore and Associates. Our charge is to facilitate the application and selection process, support IT leaders programs through supplemental local learning sessions, provide post-graduation alumni events, and we support ITLP programming, including the Big Ten Academic Alliance, BTAA, and UW System IT Leaders programs and their cohorts. Both of these programs span approximately 10 months and consist of in-person workshops and facilitated applied learning sessions. We also support the Lead From Where You Are program. The cohort for this program consists of participants from UW-Madison exclusively and are held virtually. The program spans approximately 8 months and consists of workshops and applied learning sessions. All programs provide opportunity for established and emerging IT leaders on campus to further develop their leadership skills, broaden their professional networks, and engage more deeply with our IT community. And for additional information on ITLP, you can visit the website here. And if you have questions or want to know more, if I can copy this link here, you can feel free to reach out to either Chris Poser or myself, and our contact information can be found at the bottom of our steering team website here. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sarah.
You bet.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Next, Connor, would you like to talk about the IT leadership? Well, I'll go ahead and let you do the rest.
Yes. Hi. If you don't know me, I am Connor Klecker. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the IT project manager for the biochemistry department. I have been involved with the Information and Technology Leadership Conference for 3 years now, and I'm currently co-leading it with Leah Micah this year. We are, and our group has grown this year. We have quite a few new members, and we're still looking for more if you are interested. We are a group of volunteers from around campus who are passionate about technology, leadership, and its impact on our campus. And that also sums up our audience for this conference. If you're at whatever stage of your career and you're interested in advancing your leadership skills, collaborating with others on topics that affect an organization, you'll be well served by attending ITLC 10. This year, we have it scheduled for December 5th at the WID. It's going to be a hybrid conference, so either in person or join us via Zoom. And we'll be celebrating a decade of ideas, technology, and leadership vision. So join us either at the conference or join the committee. We're just starting to round out ideas and pick themes and update our website, which I will send here. So currently, it's all set up for last year, but we're just picking up. So reach out. Love to have you.
Thanks so much, Connor. All right, Amanda, would you like to talk about women in IT?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Johnson. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the user support manager at the College of Engineering. I'm also one of the co-leads for UW-Madison Women in IT, along with my co-lead, Suzanne Broadberry, who's not here with us today. So what is this group? Women in IT was founded in 2014, and we are dedicated to developing strategies to improve the recruitment, retention, and advancement of women working in IT on campus. This group is open to all genders, not just women. We do love having allies as part of our steering team, just to get all perspectives. So what does our group do? So we, like I just said, we're trying to promote women in IT. And how do we do that? So the first thing that we do that a lot of you might have seen us from is that we do have an email list that has a couple hundred members. It's primarily used for job opportunities, community building events, or just anything that kind of might pertain to women in IT on campus. Feel free to shoot messages over there. If you ever think anything maybe or could be sent, but you're not sure, feel free to send me a message. I'm happy to forward it out or give some feedback on whether it's appropriate or not. But if you think it is, it probably is, and just send it out. We also do other programming. It was a little bit lighter over COVID, but our group is currently in talks to figure out what our program is going to be come fall. Historically, we've had some workshops like resume building workshops and just like interviewing tips. We're hoping to bring some of that back because those were really well-attended events in the past. And now that people are kind of back on campus, we're trying to figure out a way to do that either in person or virtually or some sort of hybrid event. That remains to be seen. But we also occasionally partner with other Big Ten schools or BTAA Women in IT for events. We held a salary negotiation event earlier this spring that was really well attended, and we got really great feedback on. And hopefully we will be bringing in a speaker. We're working with a couple other groups to try to bring a speaker in sometime within the next year. Can't say much about that yet, but hopefully we can make that happen. All that to be said, we don't have a lot of events planned now, but we do have a lot going on in the background. So look for some emails soon with more things that we have coming in the spring. Yes, thank you, Amanda, for throwing that in the chat. We also partner with Madison Women in IT. We've done speed networking events in the past, and we will be having another one later on this month on June 22nd. We're really excited about that. And I guess last, how does our group work? Our steering team currently meets about once a month. We're taking a little bit of time off for summer just because everyone's so busy and could use the break. Right now, our meetings are just our steering team members. We're not recruiting, but we are planning to be recruiting in the fall. So look for messaging later this summer if you are interested in participating. Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Suzanne. We're happy to answer them. For more information, I just threw the link in the chat to our group. yeah, so that's all I have to talk about WIT. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, Amanda. All right. Well, if anyone has any questions for any of the groups, any of the representatives, I should say, for the groups, please feel free to either unmute and just ask your question or drop something in the chat. And if not, I would love to hear from some of you what you love the most about your group, or maybe one of the events that you attended from one of the other groups, or maybe one of the events you helped put on that has been sort of a highlight so far for you. I know I've certainly attended many of the events that you have all put on, and they have been really very enriching and a real gift for the IT community. So I'd just love to hear either maybe your favorite thing about the group that you're in, or something really cool that you really enjoyed from either your group or on somebody else's group. Scott says his experience as a mentor was really gratifying. Mention that in the chat. That's great.
Yeah, in my case, there was an individual, he was from somewhere in Central America, very experienced analytics person. And it just turned out that I knew exactly how to help this person with their question. And so, and the other thing I'd like to say about the mentoring group, Sarah and Lindsay, I believe, run it. It's so nicely put together. So consider joining. And if you're, really experienced, consider being a mentee anyway. It's really a great experience.
Thanks a lot, Scott. I'm looking forward to the coffee event that you guys are putting forward, because I think that's kind of like a mini mentor experience where you just talk to somebody and make a connection, and
Right.
that I'm really looking forward to.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. And we've been so fortunate to have Lindsay, your co-lead, build the randomizing matchup app. But as we discussed it, in the back of our minds was always, how can this be extended for the mentoring crew? But that's off topic. I just wanted to thank you, because the mentoring experience I had was amazing.
And I do want to say a lot of what we've been talking about is very specific to IT, but I think that we would be negligent if we didn't say IT is what you make of it. So if you're an IT adjacent professional and you feel like you don't belong, you're wrong. You belong. If the chances are good that people around you consider you an IT person, even if you don't consider yourself an IT person. And if you do feel like a fraud or imposter, come talk to us, because we're happy to help you deal with those issues, and you shouldn't feel like you don't belong. You're part of our community, whether you like it or not.
Yes, absolutely. I also just want to mention that we have been reaching out to some of the other mentoring groups around campus, and we're really hoping that next year we'll be able to put on some kind of open to the public networking events, maybe some speakers together with them. I know I've spoken to Vanessa Talby, who's part of the academic staff mentorship network, and then at Showcase, I had the chance to meet a couple of other mentorship groups, and we really would like to extend our program out, because like Sarah said, even if you feel like you're not part of IT, you might be. And even more importantly, if you're not, and you really want to know what it might be like, that's another way for people to come in and join the mentorship program. If you just want to talk to somebody in the field, definitely come and join us.
Yeah, thanks for that, Lindsay. Tying into that, I also want to shout out to Amanda on, Data Wonks in particular, for our IT adjacent colleagues. Very active, and just absolutely love it. I send all the analysts that I run into there, and I get feedback that they're getting answers that they need. And also down Amanda's road was Leadership Improv. If you're a little shy, Go there, you'll have fun, and it's really easy. The on-ramp to leadership improv is very simple and very, you don't have to worry about it. So thanks for that, Amanda, both those things.
All right.
For me, it started as I was the fight, freeze, or fawn. I was a freezer. And so I kind of took it to get me unlocked, because I'd be, okay, I gotta somehow get out of this. So help practice getting unlocked. But I'm gonna give a shout out to the IT Professionals Conference, because that's how I got to meet all of the people in this room. Just getting involved on that conference committee and meeting people, and then getting a chance to make something happen and build up the support for new speakers, and to help folks get used to that, again, with that public speaking fear, like trying to tackle that. I was trying to tackle it myself. So the nicest way to do something that is like reach out and give that help to somebody else. And it helped me along my way. So thank you, IT Professionals Conference.
Thanks, Amanda. We had a question in the chat about when ITLP starts taking new applications. Answer to that is they are hoping to take applications for the BTAA and UW system cohorts over the summer. So thanks for that question. I will say that, as alluding to what Amanda said, that meeting all of you has been a really rewarding experience for me. So rarely, I feel like, do we get insights into the organizational structures of other departments and other divisions. And I think what's really been impactful to me is seeing the different roles that people take when they're in a different team dynamic. So if you're in a team and you want to see what a different team is like, I think joining one of these committees is a great way to do it. It's a whole different team dynamic. You have the ability to take on roles you might never have thought of taking on, stretch your legs in terms of, or push yourself in terms of learning new skills, learning new things, maybe taking on some leadership challenges. It's just a really good experience. And most of them, as you've heard, don't take necessarily a huge time commitment or a lot of time outside of your regular job. And in a lot of cases, what you end up doing with these groups ends up feeding into what you're already working on, or vice versa. So I would highly encourage everybody to consider joining one of them that might be of interest. And as Sabrina mentioned at the beginning, if none of these groups are really, of your interest, well, maybe you should find your group of friends and start your own group, right? That's how a lot of these groups got started. It was a couple of people out for coffee being like, we should really do a thing. And then now here they are, they're a group, part of IT Connects. And I think that there are several groups around campus too who are sort of born out of necessity. I think the pandemic is a good example of that. There are a lot of groups that they needed to become a community of practice to survive the pandemic. And they found that having that community has had real staying power. Anyone else want to share something really cool about another group, maybe, or a cool event that they attended from one of the other groups, something they love about their group?
I would just jump in and say that I mean there's been a number, so it's like I'm having a hard time picking one. I know, I think it was earlier this spring. There was a great one all about photography within the UW design community. There's also one about building better emails. There's been something really nice and practical that has come out of any one of these sort of presentations, and it's just really handy because it feels like you can have a lot of great benefits to building community and connections and leadership, and there's personal skills. And then there's sometimes it's nice to also have that moment of like, oh, that's just a resource I didn't know was around. I can take advantage of that now. And that's sort of really nice as well. And I think there's a lot of them. I mean, there's probably a lot of different ones that I feel like I'm missing some of these presentations, but I linked to the communities of practice page within HR as well. Just encourage folks to check those out, because I'm sure there's a bunch there to really take a look at. I know there's upcoming ones for also the digital accessibility community of practice coming up soon. In fact, that I'm greatly looking forward to the speakers on that. There's going to be speaker Rachel Jarris and Ruben Mota at a June 13th COP for that, which is I'm looking forward to a lot because I feel like I'm going to learn a whole bunch. So again, definitely check those out.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Yeah, actually, I'll just share an event that was put on by the ITLP Forward Group, a little alumni get together for some folks who are currently in programs, who have graduated, just sort of everyone come to the terrace and hang out. And the most amazing thing to me was someone who I kind of interacted with over email a little bit, met him in person and realized there's been so many touch points for the two of us, professionally and personally, like over the past, I'm not going to divulge how many years, that I had no idea. And it was like that random event that was put on to try and bring people together. And now I know this person, and I have again, our circles have crossed so many times that now I can make it intentional. And so that was just really cool to have that opportunity.
And I'd just like to add that I've been on this campus for a long, long time. And it was like Amanda, until I got onto the planning committee for the leadership conference, I had no idea how wonderful this place was. And in a panel we did earlier today, one of the people said she's new here and she feels so siloed. And Laurel Bellman is right on the money. Get involved, go over to the IT Connects page and just, reach out. And if you're like me, you'll be amazed. It was like, how did I spend way over 3 decades here and not know how cool this place is? Yeah.
Very true. All right, well, I don't want to keep anybody too much longer. There are 2 sessions starting right away at 2 o'clock. So I think maybe to give everybody a break, get something to drink, log it on our beverage counter because we have got to get across Lake Mendota by the end of tomorrow. I'm telling you guys, I'm motivated. So I think we'll go ahead and we'll end this session, but thank you so much, everybody who talked about their group. And thank you to everybody who attended. I really hope that this has inspired you to reach out to one of these co-leads and get involved in one of the groups with IT Connects so that you can start building those connections across our campus and help with your own professional development as well. All right, thank you, everyone. Bye.